How you doing?
What's going on, sir? How are you, man?
Man, I'm great, man. Thanks for asking, baby.
Yes, sir,
Everything
man.
good with you?
Man, making it happen. You know what I'm saying? Fighting the resistance, trying to become what I'm supposed to be. You know how to, all of our battle, right?
Man, boy, he busy. He busy. We can't let him win though.
No,
He
sir.
busy.
No, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay, so great. How y'all doing, great people? Today we talking the addiction, sex addiction. That's what we on
I'm
today.
Cal and Dave Jones are the host of the show. We living in some difficult times, as most of us know. Let's lift each other up and put down the stress. If you didn't know, the name of the show is called Rap.
Man, yes, sir. Yeah, this topic originally came about, man. Me and a couple of my cats was around the shop kicking it, man, and working on the car. And one of my guys was like, man, Cal, you need to talk about sex addiction. You know what I'm saying? How hard it is with men, and their resistance with sex, and just how hard it's a hard thing for men, and ain't nobody really talking about it.
Hmm.
He had came up to the shop, two of my cats, and they was just talking about the show and say they have been watching and they enjoy it, and they threw that topic out at me and told me
Man.
that's something we need to talk about. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna talk about that. I kind of wanted them to kind of jump on the show with us and kick it, but everybody's so busy, man. It sucks being in the dark. You know what I'm saying? You gotta work so hard. You gotta work so hard. You know what I'm saying? Trying to keep everything going. There ain't enough time to do nothing you want to do.
Yeah, yeah. I think this is an awesome topic because obviously we talking to the fellas, so there's a lot of men out there, and I think when I heard this topic, I'm like, man, that's pretty deep. One of the more deeper ones I think we got into, but we all got our battles and we all got our struggles, and we don't have a safe space to communicate these ideas. And so I'm excited to try to jump into it to see if we can actually give something that kind of help in these areas because I know a lot of men struggle in this area.
Man, listen, man, it's funny, man. That you see a lot of men struggling in this area because when I was coming up in the streets, man, and with a lot of the cats that kind of took me under their wing and raised me, this is something that is not taught. You know what I'm saying? It's not really taught in the home, and it's not taught, in the streets. Even what I'm saying, if you've been raised in the streets, it's such looked at as such an okay and cool thing to do
Right.
because people don't look at it as the addiction or the curse that it has on your life that it
Right.
is.
Mhm.
So they'll talk to you like, man, stay away from drugs, man. Don't mess with no hardcore drugs. Stay away from that casino. All the rules that a guy tell you when they're trying to give you some game if they see something in you. And sex is one of them things they just don't be like, hey man, don't be a player, don't have too many women. Watch this. You just don't hear it. You know what I'm saying?
Matter
In
of
your
fact, you
common
almost
comment.
like push towards it, no?
Right. It's not in your common conversation. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So it's like okay. You know what I'm saying? And what we find in what I'm saying, just living that this thing is just as addictive as crack, heroin, the casino, whatever your vice is. This is another vice if you don't, pay attention to it and get a hold of it and get it under control.
Okay, actually, let me jump in and say something about that. Obviously, all of our stuff is going to be, again, we're talking about sex and sex addiction, particularly how it affects us in building our families and
Hmm.
also building our business or the thing that we create to solve problems to bring resources to ourselves. So this is a major thing that really affects our productivity to become and produce. But we haven't, I'm saying, as men, it's almost like we've been encouraged to have sex and I'm saying, to go out and chase women. I remember back when I was out and unmarried, obviously it was just a game to go out. If we go to the club or if we see women, it's like it's an automatic motive and the game you play to go get women and see how many women that you can get.
Hmm.
And obviously do whatever you do in those relationships based upon your ability to communicate, right? And so you
Right.
almost bake this behavior of just having these relationships with people that don't have any future in it, but it's all selfishly based and motivated. But I get the point of that is we've been almost like raised in the community and peer pressure, like that is okay. You follow
Yeah,
what I'm
it's a
saying?
it's a whack ego too, man, because they wear this badge of honor on their chest as to, what I'm saying, when you see your man getting on a girl or so on and so forth, or different, what I'm saying, things, or a guy see you talking to a girl or hugging a girl, and the first thing, they want to know is what's up with her. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
If she nice looking
mm.
or she got a body or whatever the case may be. First thing come to mind when you're around the fellas, even if you just know a chick, is have you hit her? You know what I'm saying? What's up with girl? Just that and the other. And it's just like, it's like it's a badge of honor that men wear, and it's like it's a conversation piece when the fellas is together. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
you know, it's just, to me, it's just a bad habit that has occurred. You know what I'm saying? And like you say, it's an ongoing thing that it's the cool thing to do if you the man. You're supposed to be the man. If you know what I'm saying, got a lot of notches under your belt, or you knocked a lot of them down, and so on and so forth. So, you know, it's just a thing that it's not taught that, hey, you better watch out for herpes. You better watch out for gonorrhea. You don't mess around, get AIDS. You know what I'm saying? You mess around and ain't protecting yourself, or you get too many of them pregnant, you're going to have child support up your, you know what I'm saying, up your ass. You're going to be dealing with a lot of drama. You know what I'm saying? You can't build a career and still be a dad with, you know what I'm saying? It's just so much stuff that ain't talked about, you know what I'm saying, when these young men are out here thinking that having sex, you know what I'm saying, it's so cool. You know what I'm saying? Being a player, and you know what I'm saying, how many you can hit is so cool.
Now, I think you said a lot in that. And, you know, obviously, again, let's refresh. We're talking to men who obviously who struggle with the sex addiction. You know, there's some seasons that we go through in life where we're in the chase and it's a part of the game and we're happy with it. If you're there, this conversation isn't for you. But as I believe the conversation came to us, it was somebody like, man, this is affecting my life negatively. This is affecting my ability to focus. This is affecting my family and my ability to be committed and be the man that I'm supposed to be. And I think before we can start to dive into these conversations for change, or we can build this community of support to help us talk through these issues, before you transition, you almost have to be to the point where that pain or the disruption of this type of mindset that we thought was cool at one point is almost, it's intolerable pain, where it's like, I gotta do something different. We know that the desire is still there because we've baked that behavior of getting, you know what I'm saying, having that lust or, you know, satisfaction, that thirst quenched in the body. But we are now coming to the age that we see that it's disrupting who we are. You follow what I'm saying? I want to, you know, we always want to base this not just on our own opinion, but for those of us who believe in God, we always want to have, again, this is faith in society, right? Because the world teaches us that it's cool. But scripturally, and we're not trying to sound religions, 1 Corinthians 6:18, it gives us a principle that we can use as a starting point to see if we can start this conversation as to how and why we need to stop this. So it says, you know, the command is flee from sexual immorality. All other sins a person commits are outside of the body, but whoever sins sexually sins against their own body. Right? Do you not know that your bodies are the temple of the Holy Spirit who is in you, that you receive from God? Meaning that your body is a temple of good thoughts, that being love, that being grace, that being goodness, gentleness, and kindness to others. When you use sexual immorality to satisfy lust or that quench or that thirst, it feels good at the time, but as we've learned that it disrupts so much in our lives, and also causes you to take from other people who we have no future motivation from.
Man, that's good. And you know, and it's funny you say that, because it's kind of piggybacking off what I was saying with that scripture, was piggybacking off what I was saying about how, you know, when it said you sin against your own body. And that's what I was talking about when you're talking about plague and disease on you and different things that, you know what I'm saying, you're not aware of, that you can come in contact with when, you know what I'm saying, you don't get a hold of this thing, man. I was talking to some of the fellas, man, and it gets to be a point where, like you say, it gets so urgent and it's such a must to you that it's just like you can't even really hold a committed relationship down. You can't do nothing, you know what I'm saying? If the right situation come about your life, it's such a bad desire, you know what I'm saying, like a drug that is just like, you know, you got these skeletons in your claws and you got this tippy-toeing around and you got this lust you got to feel, and it's like it get to a point where it's no one woman that can fulfill your need. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's just like it becomes like you need sexual, you know, you got a sexual desire for something different. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like, you know what I'm saying, the freakier they are, you know what I'm saying, the more lustful you become. So, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it just get more and more dangerous to the point where it's like, if you don't find a way to get a hold of it, it'll get to the point where you can't get a hold of it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the old saying comes, like whatever you eventually don't take a hold of, it's going to take a hold of you.
Yeah.
You know, you can tackle and play with that thing so long, it'll be just like any other drug or any other vice that just gets you where it's just like, I gotta have it. You know what I'm saying? It's just
And
on you.
that's the empathy that I have as we talk to to us fellas who may be in this season where you struggle with that. So there's an empathy there, right? Because we haven't been trained that when we, engage in this type of activity, as cool as it sounds, we bake that behavior in there that now it's an addiction. And so how do we get through this? How do we get through this particular battle? I think it comes down to, perception. Like, you have to look at the activity through the lens of, how it is affecting others, or how is it taken away from what you're trying to build, right? Because the desire for the sensation usually for any addiction usually drive us to go do it, regardless of what it'll affect. But the more we focus on how it feels good to us, the less we're focused on how it affects us. And so when you're talking about are you trying to build something? Do you have struggles where you're trying to build, the business or work within the job that you're trying to create, and it's really taken away from your ability to execute? So it's causing you to be on a lower level of productivity while we're watching everybody else move along in their focus. We're distracted in the urges that keep us out of the box. Is it the thing that's going on in your family, right? Like, if you know that you want better for your family, that you're doing things that's causing their family to be disrupted, you have to look at, how do I love, or how do I give myself to the person that I'm assigned to, that I'm responsible for, and weigh that hurt that I'm causing them to the thing that I'm selfishly trying to get a hold of. Not that that's the only answer, but there has to be ways in which we have to start, weighing odds of what we're doing,
Yeah, because that's good, because anything you do that takes time away from you like that, it's going to affect something else. You know what I'm saying? And just to go a little deeper from the side and just talk to the homies, man, it'd be a lot of them stuck in the streets, man, and doing different things that they necessarily don't even want to do, sacrificing their freedom because they trick bill so high. You see what I'm saying? Because, they spending so much money. They got this one, they juggling, they trying to keep so many in rotation that they got to pay some over here. They paying some over here. They doing something over here to where, that, the sacrifice, like you say, of just their freedom and things they got to do to keep the money flowing, just to keep up with, the spirit of lust and the sex drive. It's just like, you jeopardize so much other stuff. Like you say, don't have money, don't have the time or the money to invest in things you're trying to do on your own, or you stuck in the streets doing things you really don't want to do because you're trying to, keep your thing going. So it just get deep on you, man, and it'll burn you out. So
one warning that I would like to give is, I have a saying that says, flesh, or that body, that craving, is never satisfied. Right. You kind of touched on this earlier, and that's why you say, what that means is you can get one, and that's not enough. You get something else, and the level of the addiction turns into just the freakiness and the debauchery. It goes so out rampant that it begins to cross in lines that you don't want it, because you never can satisfy that thing. You can have so many women, and once you get to that stage, it's like, I want something else, and then you get all kind of perversion that comes in, because that body is never satisfied. It only wants what it can't have, or what it's not supposed to have, or what's destructive to it. No different from the foods that we eat. That's why cake tastes better than broccoli, right? Even though it damages the body, there's a baked behavior that will, if we don't get a hold of it, this is the warning, that it will lead you to a place, not only where diseases are there, but the level of perversion that's there. It takes you so out of the box, and you put that into your DNA, and any seed or any child that you have, you're baking that perversion inside of them. So it goes beyond even just yourself. There's a saying that says, when we look at a man, like when you and I look at a guy, we see that particular person. But when the enemy look at the guy, they see generations. And so the enemy is trying to attack us with this perversion so deep that it's not only going to affect you, it's going to affect those that come through you, because that DNA is baked in them. And that's almost like something that we have to consider, that you're never going to satisfy that flesh. So how do we go and get support? How do we go and find somebody to help us work through these battles?
Man, that's good, man. I like how you know what I'm saying, you referred that to food, you know what I'm saying, cake and broccoli, you know what I'm saying, because it's all bad habits, you know what I'm saying, just like a bad diet, just like not exercising, just like not having discipline on, you know what I'm saying, putting money up, or not going out this weekend, or not going to the casino, or, you know what I'm saying, not running to the mall and spending your money every time, you know, money burning a hole in your pocket because you got to do something with it. It's the same mindset you got to use to fight in that thing. You know what I'm saying? You got to, it's discipline. You got to shut down. You got to put yourself on punishment. You got to say, you know what? I ain't, you know what I'm saying? I ain't going out with no women. I ain't, you know what I'm saying, entertaining no women. I'm gonna focus on me. You know what I'm saying? You got to take that. It's almost like a fast. You know what I'm saying? 100%. It's like anything else you battling and dealing with, you got to just shut down. You got to shut down and just tap into yourself. You know what I'm saying? So if I had to answer that, how do we deal with it? That's what I would have to say. You just have to go cold turkey on that thing and just be like, you know what? You know what I'm saying? Even if you get to the point where, you know, it's only so tough that you shut down on women, but you got to masturbate. Then you got to work your way off that. You just got to find ways to just slowly bring yourself off of it and watch yourself, you know what I'm saying, get in control of it. Because if you don't take some necessary steps to watch it change, just like anything else, you ain't going to be able to change it. You ain't going to be able to stop it. You know what I'm saying? Just like building a business, you know what I'm saying? Write the plan, you know what I'm saying? Then start putting up small money. So, you know, if you want, if you battling with this thing out there and you trying to stop it, it ain't going to be no overnight thing. Just like crack, just like, you know what I'm saying, any diet, just like any other thing, you know, and some of it might be bigger than you. You might not be able to do it yourself. You might have to go seek some professional help. And you can't be ashamed. But what you got to do, you got to stay humble enough to say, I'm no different than the guy on the corner smoking crack. I'm no different than that guy that's addicted to the heroin. I'm no different than this guy out here hustling hard every day. He can get to the money, but as soon as he finished making it, he running to the casino. So you just got to humble yourself and just face your hard addiction and say, you know what, I got to deal with this. You know what I'm saying?
Man, you spitting, dog. I think that was it. For anybody who's in a season of pain and they know it's affected them negatively, I think if they wanted to hear something from God, they heard it through that conversation. That was awesome. Man, thank you. Two key points that are in there. It's like, you know, there's an empathy there because this is a battle. It's not a cakewalk. We're not talking at you, right? It's a battle that you're gonna have to overcome the behaviors that you've baked inside of your body. Some of us it's not like, you know, I got a different behavior than you and somebody else got a different. So it's again, we're not condescending. If your battle right now is the lust or lust addiction, you have to get a hold of it. And it is a fight that you have to intentionally do. And one of the things Unc said was basically connect yourself with either somebody who's there, you know, a counselor that specializes in maybe sex addiction. And then number two, get you a support system. Hopefully you have a friend or somebody that you can confide in that say, hey man, help me through this battle. You know what I'm saying? It seemed cool, but I got a different perception of this because it's affected me negatively. So can you help me in these things that I want to do to guard my heart, which is my mind, from the things that I watch, whether that be pornography, from the places that we go hang out. Can we go hang out different places? You know what I'm saying? When I get those calls, I got those urges, you know what I'm saying, to make those calls. I'm going to hit you up. Can you help me talk through this and give me refocus my mind? What am I building? Who is it going to affect? My family, my son, my daughter? Like, help me to see it different when those thoughts are gonna come because they're baked in there, right? I need you to help me fight. And so isolation is the worst place to be in this type of season. If this pain is affecting you, you have to connect with somebody that can love you enough to help you through this season that you're in.
Yeah, and this is, you know, for man, this is a prideful type of, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's one of them sensitive conversations that's kind of prideful. And a lot of men, they can admit to this, you know what I'm saying, to themselves, but they don't really want to let it out that this is something that they battling with. So it's like, I'll tell a guy quick, you know what I'm saying? We've all been in relationships where, you know, not being faithful or, you know what I'm saying, not getting control of yourself then had you damaged relationships because you dealing with a situation. You think you got it under control, but you don't, because as soon as that phone call come through, you done took a chance going over to hit something, and now you got caught up and you done threw it all away. So my advice to a person, saying I used to tell my mans them when they was going through it, you know, you can't be with the one you want, beat the one you with. beat that mug for a minute until you get some control of yourself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then
Right.
if you get some control of yourself, you know what I'm saying? Get off that porn site. You know what I'm saying? It's a slow walk. You know what I'm saying? If you're trying to do it by yourself.
Yeah.
And then if some of those things don't work, you know what I'm saying? And then you got to tuck your pride. You got to have to go outside your door and seek some real help. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, you don't want to find yourself, you know what I'm saying? What you don't want to do is find yourself knowing that you're a person that really don't desire your future to be with a lot of women, and you want to settle down one day,
Right.
and you're waiting for God to give you a flower in his garden, but you a weed.
Mhm.
God ain't gonna give you a flower in his garden. God ain't gonna give somebody that's sitting up, holding themselves tight, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Walking his walk, consecrating themselves, you know what I'm saying? Making sure they hold themselves for their husband to give them to somebody like you that ain't got no self-control. So if you know one day you actually looking to be settled down, looking for the right woman, and you believe in God to send her to you, that's one of them things that would destroy it. You know what I'm saying? If you don't get a hold of it, you know what I'm saying? It would
I want to jump in
fast.
there too. Can I? Because some of us are married and battling with this,
Right.
And one thing that I could offer, you know, for those who have the ability to do this, is, you know, sometimes family counseling or family meeting, like sitting with your wife, and actually not just trying to hide it, but baby, I am struggling with this. I think it's so much like the enemy has taught us that we miss the synergy of the partnership of a relationship. And there's so many things that we are divided about, that we're competing to make money. We're competing with our struggles. We can't be vulnerable and be transparent with our weakness. Now, this may not be for everybody, because this is definitely a different perception. But I think the enemy has caused us to have such division within the home that we need to get back to using each other for the power of working together, the power of a power couple, right? Baby, I'm struggling with this area, right? I don't want to cheat, but there's something baked in me, whether it be from my genealogy, some generational curse, these urges that are there that I can't control, but I want to get a hold of, right? So how can we talk through this? How can you help me instead of just catching me or tell me what I should not do? Help me through this, through some type of wisdom that God has given you. You know what I'm saying? Can we work together? That may be a stretch for some, but I think that might help somebody.
Yeah, shit, man. I be thinking God so scared to tear his house up. He like,
but it's already tore up though.
Right.
Most women know. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They know that. So if you're in that predicament where you know, like where your wife knows and they keep catching you, but we're trying to hide and justify it, there is an option to say, hey, I'm actually struck. Like, I don't want to do this. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's some things that we know, like the hardest thing for all of us, right? Male and female, is do the things that we already know to do, or to stop doing the things we know that are damaging us. And too many times we're fighting that internal battle alone. This is the power of connecting with somebody, and who better in this particular situation to be transparent and try to connect with the wife and say, I don't want this to break up. I don't want to break this home, but I'm really struggling with an addiction. This is what this is. I'm not trying to let you say, maybe let it be passed or excuse it, but how do we battle it together? I mean, God told me to say that. I think that really would help somebody.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Well, I think I'm pretty much, you know what I'm saying, spoke my piece on this. It's a wrap on my end.
It's
You
a
got
wrap
something
here
else?
too, man.
Huh?
I say it's a wrap too, man. Whittling,
Yes, sir.
responding as people should. We try to give you a principle, you know, not just our own opinion, but a lot of things that we're doing. Our whole idea with this faith in society is to retrain the mind of how society has taught us to do things through peer pressure or through systems that really are not working. And for those of us who are realizing that the thoughts that have been baked in, that we've been sold, the lies we've been sold, are of darkness, they're of the enemy. And if we're honest, they don't work. So we have to get back into kingdom principles, things that work, that are about loving people, building others, solving other people's problems. And we'll see that the fulfillment comes in our giving, specifically in this case, in protecting ourselves from damage through the physical body and the perversion that comes in, that affect our generations and what comes out of our bloodline. So it's a wrap, baby. We'll see you on the next one. It's a wrap, man.
All right. Love you, bro.
Love you too, man.
Cal and Dave Jones are the hosts of the show. We living in some difficult times, as most of us know. Let's lift each other up and put down the stress. If you didn't know, the name of the show is called Raps.